Focus. Focus up. I'm talking to you, the dream team. You guys did great at Hoop Fest in Spokane. Very, very proud of you guys. Started a little slow, but then you came back and almost won the championship in the consolation bracket. Welcome to the Rubio Method. My name is Chris Rubio, along with Lord Nicholas Monaghan. We have a great show today. This is episode 36 with a fantastic guest named Dustin Hibbard. You're going to love his story. We have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful show broken down into 4 segments. We've got the intro. Then we've got some email questions along with Minute with Monaghan. We've got the interview section, and then we're going to wrap up with the bottom line. So what are we talking about on today's show? How to impact your workday in a positive way, what TV series we are watching, how do Monaghan and I remain friends, sports dads, the worst yet best comedies, strategies for surviving brain eaters, okay, Lewiston, Idaho, hyperbaric oxygen chambers, good Lord, veterans and first responders, removing the stigma of men talking, all of that and much, much more on today's episode of the Rubio Method. Christian, I'm out. Focus. Focus up. I'm talking to you, Harmony. Way to keep your sunglasses on all day, all night. You are an absolute legend. Thanks for subscribing on YouTube, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and of course the NGBN.TV network. Before we get to our email questions that you guys are doing a great job of emailing Rubio at therubiomethod.com. Monaghan, do you have a minute with Monaghan for us today?
Yes, I do. It is one that I'm passionate about. I also want to give a shout out to your friend who never takes his glasses off. Sun don't set on cool, baby. Let's go. Yes, but today's something I'm super passionate about. It is 4 ways to be more effective during your workday. The reason why we bring this up here in the Mental Health Show is because when you're stressed, you are not firing on all cylinders and everything's a mess, and usually it just spills over to your family. So today we're talking about 4 ways to eliminate stress. Number 1 is set clear goals. Set clear goals. 4 ways to be more effective, rather, is set clear goals. Because when you have a goal list that's clear and obtainable, you feel better about yourself and it's easy to go through it. Number 2, eliminate distractions. Man, turn off your phone, turn off the email. Close that box on your email because you'll constantly be checking it and you'll leave your quote unquote flow state. So eliminate the distractions, put headphones on of music that you can really focus with. Number 3, and this one is the silent killer of being effective, is stop multitasking. You cannot multitask no matter how well you think you can. Your brain wasn't made up to do that. Do one thing at a time, and I promise you'll get through everything so much faster. And last but not least, number 4, take breaks, right? Your brain can only be in a flow state for so long before you need to take a break. Like I always say, go on a walk, breathe some fresh air, and you will find that you are more effective in your workday, and this will help eliminate stress.
Monaghan, I feel like you were talking directly to me that entire time. I feel chastised. I feel like dad is yelling at the child because literally, let's review. Number 1, set clear goals. I have a tough time on that one. 2, eliminate distractions. I'm the king of distractions. Number 3, stop multitasking. I am the king and emperor of multitasking. And 4, take breaks. I forget to take breaks, Monaghan. How long should I work before taking a break?
Man, I always say 45 minutes to an hour. That is your optimal flow state, as they say. So I would give it 45 minutes to an hour and then take a 10-minute break.
All right, Monaghan, you got to hold me to this because I'm so bad at this. Like this is, let's just move on because this is bad. Monaghan, let's get to the email questions.
Yes, absolutely. So question number 1 comes from Grant from Laguna Beach. Grant asks, since you both played high-level sports, what type of sports dads are you? Meaning, are you always coaching your kids, future for Monaghan, loud in the crowd, etc.? I'll hop in on this one first. I'm always coaching my son. He's literally a year old, but I just taught him how with his little Tykes golf clubs to hit the ball. Just because I love that. I think it's so much fun. I think I'll be loud when my son does well, but I will not be the loud dad that's, yelling at their kid or anything like that. My dad wasn't like that. And I just don't think it's very effective. What about you, Rubio?
I would agree with you, Monaghan. I will coach my kids if they ask me to coach them. Even with long snapping, I told all my kids, I'll make you the best long snapper in the world, but you got to ask me. I'm never going to say, let's go work on long snapping. Same thing with baseball, basketball, football, golf. If they ask me, I will do it. At sporting events, I'm usually away from the crowd. I like to sit in the outskirts, like in the end zone. I like to sit that way so I can watch all the linemen. I like to watch the fat kids when I'm for football. And then for baseball, I'm usually in the outfield because I don't want to hear the parents. It just makes me nervous because it's like, dude, they're 11. Calm down. It's not a big deal. So, Monaghan, what's the second question? That was a good one.
That is good. I too like watching the high calorie folk. Question number 2. This is from Betty in Portland, Oregon. Betty, how are you? This is a great question. I actually was stewing about this one, thinking about it for a while. Betty asked, from what I can grasp, you and Monaghan are not the same politically or religiously, which is really interesting. I added that interesting part. But so how do you maintain a friendship? This is really cool because I feel like we do a great job of this. Rubio, go for it.
I think it's because we're both idiots enough to realize that we're idiots, number one. Number two, I have no problem talking to anyone about anything. And number three, I think I do a good job. I'll toot my own horn here and then toot yours, Marna. That I like to ask questions. So I'll say, like, Monaghan, tell me about this. Tell me about that. Okay, like, what about this? If I'm playing devil's advocate, no pun on the religious part, but if I'm playing devil's advocate, like, what about this opposed to this? And Monaghan always does. He's a very good listener. So you're probably a very good husband as well. That he will answer all my stupid questions because I'll have literally hundreds of questions, whether it's about religion or his political beliefs. Like, how could you possibly think this? And he always answers. So that's my answer. Monaghan.
That's a great answer. I would agree. And the thing is, like, I think this, and Rubio, I don't know if you know this, but you really changed my life, obviously, in multiple ways. It made it so much better. But you were the first person that, like, we were not the same. And you're like, that's okay. Like, we can still like, it's all good, baby. And so it's funny. I actually heard a funny quote today. It was like, yeah, we look on the news and Twitter and the world's falling apart. But if you ask anybody about their personal life, everyone's like, yeah, things are going pretty well.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
The reason why I say that is because generally speaking, like 98% of everything is so much easier to, like, you have more in common than not. And I feel like we can butt heads, but we certainly know the foundation of our friendship and our relationship is that we literally are for each other and we care for each other. And guess what? The world's a big place. There's going to be people who don't think the same with you. That's okay. And Rubio really helped open my eyes to that. And I think that was a big part of our why we remain friends and have such a tight friendship.
And a big thing, and we should talk about this on the show Decades, another great show you should watch on the NGBN.TV network, is that we agree to disagree a lot.
Yes. Seriously, you were the first person. You're like, hey, we're not going to agree on this. And then I was like, yeah, you're right. And then, okay, so we're good. Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
exactly. Question,
yes, third question. I'm passionate about this one too. The question is from Tommy from Spokane, Washington. Tommy asks, what series on TV are you watching right now? And do your wives like to watch with you? I'll hop into that one. The Bear. I literally texted Ruby about this last night. The show The Bear, my wife and I are flying through that. It's about a restaurant in Chicago. It's like chaos. It's pure chaos, but it's incredible. It's on Hulu. And yeah, my wife, like I said, my wife and I love watching TV together. That's our jam. We love Hallmarks, but Rubio, I think you may notice this. We are more winter Hallmark than summer Hallmark, which is, that could be something. Rubio, what about you?
I'm okay with that. Recently I've been watching Suits. It's on Netflix. Very, very quick, good show. I like that a lot. I was really into with the show that I watched with my wife. She watches a lot of that reality TV, like Kardashians and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City or whatever the hell they are. Those are trash. I cannot watch those. But we watched Yellowstone together, and then 1923, and then 1883 or something. But she was out at like 1883, and I keep telling her that's the best one. But her quote is, "They're too dirty." I go, "Hey man, that's the way it was." And then she'll say, "Don't they ever just have a good day?" I'm like, was their life, man. When you woke up, it's like, I'm hungry. Go kill something. You know what was a good day? When you didn't die. That's reality. On that note, we're coming back with a great interview of Dustin Hibbard. Then the bottom line, Christian, I'm out.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text to emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, Joe Nolan, out in Philly. Keep standing by your thoughts. Even if I don't always agree with them, you do a great job of standing by what you think. Welcome back to episode 36 of the Rubio Method. My name is Chris Rubio. We've got a great guest coming on named Dustin Hibbard. Make sure if you have any questions for myself, Monaghan, or Hibbard, you can email rubio@therubiomethod.com. And of course, subscribe and share the Rubio Method on ngbn.tv, Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and I think even Rumble. So fantastic. All right, Hibbard, welcome Dustin Hibbard. He served 8 years in the Army, military police, served for 18 years in law enforcement. 26 years as a first responder has given Hibbard a dark sense of humor and unhealthy coping skills until recently. Welcome, Dustin Hibbard. What's going on, my man?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Fantastic. All right, I got 3 quick questions just to loosen you up a little bit. Number 1. You love a good dumb comedy. So which is the best? Dumb and Dumber, Animal House, Tommy Boy, Caddyshack, or Airplane?
Step Brothers.
Oh, Jesus, I forgot Step Brothers. That is a very good one. Step Brothers, that is a damn good
I probably quote every line of Step Brothers like everybody else on the planet right now. So
Step Brothers is a definite top 5 comedy.
But, so
that is a very Catalina wine mixer Christian just put. Yeah, that is damn. I'm upset with myself on that one.
What were your other options though? You had some good
You
ones.
Had Animal House, Dumb and Dumber, Tommy Boy, Caddyshack, or Airplane. Dumb and Dumber is a very quotable movie as well, though.
Caddyshack and Dumb and Dumber are both right up there.
Yeah, but I love Wedding Crashers, but I don't think that is a dumb comedy.
No, not quite.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's move on. Number 2. I like to ask this to people that are good with guns and your law enforcement, all that. How long would you last in a zombie apocalypse, and what would be your strategy?
My strategy is probably not the most ethical, but everybody else stocks up on food. Yes. I'd rather stock up on bullets and rob the people that have the food.
Oh,
so that's my goal. That's how I'm going to stay alive, and as long as other people have food, I'll stay alive.
I got it. Okay. Looking out for yourself. You got to do what you got to do. I mean, the zombie apocalypse is here. All right. Number 3, if someone visits you in Lewiston, Idaho, besides coming out to hang out with me, what is the one thing you would tell them to try and go see?
Ooh, probably Hell's Canyon.
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
so tell everyone what Hell's Canyon is for those that don't know.
So Hell's Canyon is actually the deepest canyon in North America that we have, and deeper than Grand Canyon because it's got real steep walls. And it's got the river that runs up through it, Snake River and Salmon River. It's beautiful rapids, fishing for sturgeon, salmon. I mean, you could do just about everything. There's white sand beaches up there. So it's just one of those things that's pretty unique to this area and pretty unique to anywhere. And it's good for people to get out and explore that and see it.
Yeah, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I remember the first time I went up there, I went fishing with a buddy. And he has this giant fishing pole, and I'm not a fisherman. And the fishing pole looked like a damn javelin, but it was huge. And I'm like, okay, what the hell are we fishing for? He throws his line out, and he says, we're fishing for a sturgeon. And coming from LA, I never knew what a sturgeon was. And then after like 45 minutes, which was very rare, it usually takes longer, we catch one and start reeling it in, bring it to the Idaho side. And this is my first time ever seeing a sturgeon. If you've ever seen a sturgeon, it's a damn dinosaur. And we caught like an 8-footer or something. I go, I'm never jumping in this water. But he says, no, they stay at the bottom. I said, oh, okay, whatever. So that's my sturgeon story. Those are dinosaurs. If you ever press pause right now, if you're watching this, Google large sturgeon and just make sure you're sitting down because it's a damn, like I said, it's a dinosaur. Hibbard, what have you been up to, my man?
Well, 2022, I left law enforcement. Just decided that the overall stress of it and everything was getting bad, and decided I wanted to get out and try to breathe a little bit and explore. Those that know me pretty well know that in 2020 I had skin cancer, so I spent a year on chemo. So that definitely kind of changes your perspective on life and what's important and stuff. And so some of the things that I'd been wrapped up in as far as career wise and what I thought was important wasn't all that important anymore. So I really want to step back, focus on family, focus on just me as an individual. And once you step away from those roles of law enforcement or any first responder position, military, you realize it's played a lot more into your head than what you had initially thought. When you're doing it and you're going from call to call, it's not that bad. I mean, you realize it's probably not normal to go stand over a dead body and then immediately go to Taco Bell and get lunch afterwards. But in time, now that you've left those things, they kind of stick with you and you realize you didn't process those properly.
How hard was it for you? I mean, you spent, what was it?
26 years.
Since 26 years, basically being a soldier, whether on the streets or in, another country. How hard was it for you to leave that role?
Part of it was hard, part of it was easy. There was times in the past where I thought about it and it's kind of made me nauseous just because I really enjoyed what I was doing. After having cancer and everything and changing that perspective, when it came time to leave, I didn't have that feeling. I mean, I just felt like this is a good decision. I woke up the next morning thinking this is going to be a really good day. Like this is a big life-changing event and I'm ready to move on. But, I wasn't prepared for the mental part of moving on like I thought I was. I wasn't as strong as I thought I was.
Okay, let's dive deeper into that. What do you mean you weren't ready for the mental aspect? Because to me, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm no longer a sergeant. I'm no longer in the military. I'm no longer a cop. I can just kind of relax. I don't have to see the dead bodies. What do you mean? Talk to me more about that.
So you might not see them physically, like be standing over the one, but all those ones that you compartmentalize for 26 years start catching up with you. So for me, a lot of the what I learned was the PTSD for me had to do with juveniles primarily, either juvenile that was killed or not, just that thought of not being able to protect all these kids that things are going on, sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, and so all these things started slowly piling up on me over the next several months. During this last summer, I kind of had some problems with my lungs, thought maybe there was cancer again. So I was kind of worried. And so that put me into like that deep depression that compounded with having these dreams and this PTSD. So when I would go to sleep at night, it got to the point where I spent a lot of nights, if I felt a little bit anxious, I'd sleep on the couch because I'd wake up fighting, like just physically swinging and trying to fight. And I was afraid I was going to hit my wife in my sleep or something, and I'd have a lot of dreams about just these stress dreams of not being able to help these kids or seeing a dead body, or even if I'm not asleep, you hear certain noises or you see certain pictures and stuff like that. It immediately triggers like that smell reaction. Like I can smell a photo, you can smell a video. And it got to a point where I was like, man, I'm just on the verge of collapse, as far as it gets really personal, but that's what we're here. It puts you into that suicidal tendencies and stuff. And for me, during the holidays this last year, not knowing about the spot on my lung and whether I had cancer and stuff like that, it got really hard for me. And then I was having these dreams almost nightly of this PTSD reaction type stuff. So when I woke up, I felt like I wasn't rested. I felt like I was super anxious. You're taking medications, trying all this stuff, and it's just not there. It's just not working for you. And after a while, you start contemplating, like what's your play here, and how do you get to a better place? And so that's kind of where I was here, probably about January.
Okay, so how you're having all these dreams? You've got PTSD. How do you fix it, man? Because you're obviously sitting right here.
Yeah. So one of my things is I like to try as many different things as possible. Just because one thing doesn't work or didn't work for this person doesn't mean it can't work for you. And so like I say, taking an antidepressant and these anxiety meds, they just weren't cut up for me. I felt like it was just enough to suppress going into that next level.
Okay.
So I work with several nonprofits in the area, one of them being in the state called Crazy Survival. I do peer support, and then we serve for all law enforcement and veterans, our first responders and veterans. And we actually do peer support. We have a lot of different resources we can direct people to that are suffering PTSD or mental health type stuff that fall into those dynamics that I mentioned. So being on that, one of the partners that we have is called Mission 43 in Idaho. And the director from Courageous Survival reached out to me and she said, hey, I was thinking about you have cancer. You've been having these dreams and PTSD because I'm very open. I share it with everybody. And she recommended the hyperbaric treatment for me.
Yeah,
that
talk
was
about that.
paid for through Mission 43. So I contacted Mission 43. Mission 43, they were awesome. I mean, quick to respond. Hey, let's get you into this thing. You do an assessment with a counselor to see how bad your PTSD or your depression is. And I think the scale goes like 80 or 82. I was like at 63 on mine. And so anything over 62 is considered like severely depressed and mental health issues. So they got me in right away. Within a week, I was packing up the truck and I headed down to Sun Valley, Idaho. And if anybody's never been to Sun Valley, Idaho, it's kind of got that North Shore vibe to it. It's of Hawaii. You just kind of, everybody does their own business there. They're relaxed. They just don't care what everybody else is doing, and you can just enjoy life. So I got down to Sun Valley and met Phil Rainey with Sun Valley Hyperbaric Treatment. He's the owner down there. Another guy, Mark Phipps, one of the techs, Maggie, who works front desk. These people were amazing to get to know and work with. I mean, you immediately feel like your family when you walk in the door. The other gal, Lydia, she just left, but she was also amazing. But you go in and you sit in these hyperbaric chambers that the main one.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm a visual guy. You walk into this. Is it like a hospital, or is it like I'm picturing like an old folks home right now in my head?
No, it's kind of looks like a day spa type place.
Okay.
Kind of got that.
Walk into
Like you walk in, there's like plants. There's little, fountains and that type of stuff, and so you just kind of got that nice, relaxed feeling when you walk.
And then you go into a separate room in this hyperbaric chamber. Does it look like a submarine, or what's happening here?
Yeah, so the timing of this thing's pretty bad because it looks just like this Titanic submarine that just
yeah, because you sent me a picture of it.
Yes. So they actually have one big chamber and then two mono chambers where you can go in by yourself, but they cost.
Okay, how big are I need visuals. How big are the chambers? Because you're not petite. You're like 6'4". What are you, 230?
Yeah,
you're not small.
230.
Yeah.
And you could fit. I mean, we could fit 3 people in there comfortably, and a dog. We had a dog in there with us several times.
Are there windows?
There's like little submarine windows that are like, like this big.
You didn't get claustrophobic?
They ask you. I mean, you go through a whole bunch of questions and stuff, but it's not a claustrophobic feeling because it's a big tube. You're sitting in these nice big aerodynamic chairs with padding.
Okay.
And
I'm sort of sweat.
Yeah, it's not that bad. You get in there and it starts to pressurize from inside out. And so while it's doing that, you have to keep clearing your nose and your sinuses, like if you're going underwater. And they take you down to a depth that's equivalent to 50 feet in pressure. Ooh. And so you're dropping down, you're pressurizing, doing all that stuff. And once you get to the depth, it gets really quiet. And you just put on your oxygen mask and you're breathing 100% oxygen. And from there, you just play on your phone or watch a movie or do whatever you want to do for the next hour.
But how does this help? I don't understand. What's going on here? How does this work?
So you have pressure that's pushing into your body. From being inside, it's like being inside of a soda can and like coming or going up in elevation, like the soda can will kind of start doing this. If you have a bottle of water while you're sitting in there, you watch that bottle of water do the same thing and start like crinkling shut. And so it's putting pressure into your body. And at the same time, you're bringing in 100% oxygen into your lungs. And so that oxygen 100% gets pushed into your tissues and into your organs and everything else to help the healing process.
But is this was healing the lungs or your like the PTSD?
Everything.
Are you as confused as I am about what's going on here? Tell me that.
I'm not a doctor, so I couldn't tell you exactly, but I'll tell you it worked. And it goes. So a lot of athletes use it for recovery for muscles and joints and stuff like that because you're putting that 100% oxygen in there.
Yeah, I see that.
And you get that fast recovery. So like I had shoulder surgery in February, and I just went through treatment a couple weeks ago, and my shoulder's feeling almost 100%. I wouldn't say 100%. I'd say compared to what it was, it feels phenomenal to what it was before I left.
But and this is helping with the PTSD as well.
Yeah. So here's
How
the
does that
crazy
work?
thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. And I think you have to go in with an open mind, you know, and it's kind of like people that go to chiropractors. A lot of doctors look at chiropractors being like
Yeah.
witch, you know, because there's no money going into pharmaceuticals and all this other stuff. Well, same thing with hyperbaric. You go in there, you're sitting there for an hour, and then you go back and you do whatever you want for a little bit. I do a second dive in the afternoon, so I was doing twice a day. And when you got done, you're done. You just go about your business, and slowly, the goal is to build that baseline back up to where you're happy. So you're not going to be going from maybe a 2 feeling depressed to a 10, you're having a great day. You're going to build that baseline back up to like maybe a 5 or maybe a 6, so that every day you wake up and you're staying at that level. And so for me personally, like going down there, I was able to, not while I was down there, but when I left, I was able to wean myself off of the antidepressants, the anxiety meds. I'm not taking any medicine now, and I feel actually amazing. I mean, I'm feeling way better than I felt since 2020.
That's holy crap. That's amazing. So how long did you do the treatments, and you're not doing them anymore?
Not doing them anymore. You do 20 days twice a day through this program. Some people will go down, they'll do like maybe 10 days here, and they'll just do like 10 like single dives a day. And then they'll come back in a couple of months, do 10 more, and then, you know, stuff like that. So the wife and I, we're actually heading down in 2 weeks to go back down, and we're just going to do a quick couple of days of like 3 days of diving and just try to brush it up a little bit and keep going.
That is wild.
I got to throw out too, like there's 3 of them in the state. There's one in Pocatello, the building one in Boise, and one in Sun Valley. And the experience in Sun Valley can't be matched. I mean, you get done with your dives, and it was like, okay, let's go paddle boarding on this day down Silver Creek. You can go fishing. In the wintertime, they go skiing. They take you skiing. All the stuff's paid for. They take care of you. It's all part of the Mission 43 stuff. And so you just kind of get like this mountain life of, I get up, I go out for a hike on one of these hundreds of trails that they have in the area. You go shopping, great food. I mean, it was a great 3-week experience.
That's unbelievable. You do a great job, Hibbard. You've always done a great job. Maybe just because I keep asking you questions over the last 10 years or however long we've known each other. You do a great job of talking and opening up. How do we get rid of the stigma for dudes to talk to other dudes or open up? Because so much of that, like we talk about mental health, that's a huge thing for dudes, and they're terrible at it. How do we remove that stigma?
I think it's doing what we're doing right here. You know, I've always had kind of a big personality. You put me in a room, and I like to talk and shine a little bit. And I know you're the same way. So I think having guys, or especially with those big personalities that seem like these kind of the alpha of the group, you know, that can come in and put on a show just to bring in a normal conversation about mental health and what's good and what's not, and what's worked and what hasn't, and stuff like that. I think just normalizing that stuff, especially guys at our level, you know, and your level being working with sports that you do, it makes people feel like, hey, I can talk about this, or hey, it's okay not to feel this way. And for me, I have a friend at the fire department, Soren Lowe, a great guy here locally, and he shared a story about his depression back in March and going through treatment and stuff. And it really helped me to hear his story, to think, okay, I'm not the only one that's feeling this way. I'm not the only one that's struggling right now and going through this.
Hibbard, this was fantastic. You taught me a lot. I'm still amazed. Christian said he followed you the whole time. I think he's lying. Where can people find out about you if they want to contact you, or Mission 43 nonprofit Idaho for veterans and first responders?
So you can go to any of their websites, the Courageous Survival through Idaho. They have a Facebook page and a website. Mission 43, same thing, social media, or go to their website, Mission 43. It's in Idaho. For me personally, they can reach out through you, or they can get a hold of me at Dustin at hhconsultingllc.org. So those kind of 3 ways that you can really, but get involved too. I mean, just people need to get involved and realize that some people have some things going on. It's okay to have it going on. Let's normalize it and get out there.
I agree. One more time. What was the first website? Was it Creative or Courageous?
Courageous Survival.
courageoussurvival.com.
Yeah, so they focus primarily with first responders and veterans throughout the state of Idaho.
Hibbard, this was phenomenal. I knew you'd be great, but you were even better than I thought. Keep up the good fight, man, and I'm glad you're doing very, very well. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. We're coming back with the bottom line. Hibbard, thanks again. Christian,
Thanks.
I'm out.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices.
Like your text to emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Greg, come on, man, let's split a ride home.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, buzzard, out in Seattle. It was great seeing you in Spokane. Tell Luke I said to get a haircut. Welcome back to episode 36 of the Rubio Method. My name is Chris Rubio. We've already seen Nick Monaghan and Dustin Hibbard. That was phenomenal. Now we've got the bottom line segment. Before we get to the bottom line segment, remember, if you have any questions for myself, Hibbard, or Monaghan, you can email rubio@therubiomethod.com. And don't forget to subscribe and share. That's hard to say, subscribe and share to the Rubio Method on ngbn.tv, therubiomethod.com, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Google, and of course, Amazon, and even Rumble. All right. What is the bottom line? You're asking if you're a new listener or watcher. It's the segment where basically all the stuff you should have learned without even realizing you learned it. I'm talking to you about it right now. We've got 3 of them. Number 1, appreciate all that you have in your life right now. Where did we talk about that in the show? Remember when we were talking about the TV shows we're watching? 1883, everyone's old, not old, but dirty, dusty, and they're dying all the time. And my wife doesn't like it because, don't they ever have a good day? And I literally told her, I go, you need to appreciate what you have right now. We have air conditioning. You're in a hotel. You can take a plane. I mean, it took them, 6 months to go from Kansas to Oregon or wherever they went. And 18,000 people died along the way. So appreciate all that you have in your life right now. Number 2, impact your workday in a positive way. The minute with Monaghan was absolutely fantastic, where he gave you 4 of those things. And yes, I'm going to try to work on them, Monaghan. And last but not least, number 3, pressure is good as long as it is controlled by you. This has to go right along with what Dustin Hibbard was talking about with the hyperbaric chambers. I'm out, but he's in, and it's helping him out a lot with his PTSD, all his health issues, mental issues. Good for him. And it's something that really works. And off camera, Christian was saying that he's done it as well out in Southern California. So pressure is good as long as it's controlled by you. That's a wrap on episode 36 of the Rubio Method. Thank you to Nick Monaghan and Dustin Hibbard, and of course, Christian in the background. Christian, I'm out.